What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Four Verts. Time for another mock draft. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the college football season. We got rivalry week coming up here, then championship weekend before the college football playoff. Getting closer to the end of the NFL season, too. You're starting to kind of see which teams could be on tank watch down the stretch. So I go through the entire first round with trades on this mock draft. All right, the Tennessee Titans currently hold the number one pick, and if they have the number one pick, they should absolutely trade it because they already have their quarterback in Cam Ward. How about the Vikings as a team to trade up? J.J. McCarthy really struggling. Now he's injured again in the concussion protocol. If he doesn't play better down the stretch, I think Minnesota's a team to watch for a QB this offseason. Jordan Addison to the Titans. They need a weapon for Cam Ward. And 2 first-round picks, the 12th pick this year, which is what Minnesota currently has, and their first-round pick next year, and a third. So 2 ones and a third to move up from 12 to 1, plus Jordan Addison. It's a big offer, but to move into outside the top 10 to number 1, it's going to cost quite a bit. And Jordan Addison's probably worth a second or a third-round pick. So basically 2 ones and 2 day 2 picks for the number 1 overall pick. Kind of makes sense. That's probably what it would take. And then the Vikings take Fernando Mendoza. I think Fernando Mendoza in a Kevin O'Connell system would be really good. He's big, he has a good arm, he's athletic enough, he's very accurate and a good decision maker. Those are 2 things J.J. McCarthy is not right now. I get it. College and the NFL, different deal. Fernando Mendoza, though, has played a lot more ball in college than J.J. did in terms of volume of throwing the football. That was the whole, red flag to me with J.J. McCarthy. He was not asked to do a lot at Michigan. They were a run-first team. Jim Harbaugh wanted to control the clock, be physical. Hey, JJ, every once in a while make a play for us. He was not the reason that they were a dominant team. He was a reason. He was a good player in college, but they didn't ask him to do much. So he didn't have the reps of these other quarterbacks to have to carry an offense. And what does Kevin O'Connell want to do? He wants to throw the football and challenge defenses in the intermediate and vertical areas. J.J. McCarthy just didn't have that many reps of doing that in college, and that's why you're seeing these bad results. Not mixed results, bad results. And on top of all that, he can't stay healthy. Knee injury, missed his whole rookie year. This year, high ankle sprain almost cost him 2 months, his longest high ankle sprain of all time. And now he's in the concussion protocol, and since he's been so bad, conspiracy theorists think it's not even real. Now, I'm not one of those. I'm sure if he's in the protocol, he's concussed, but if this doesn't turn around and quickly, I think the Vikings pivot. Whether that's fair to JJ or not, it's only been 6 starts. It's probably not fair, but they have a win-now team. And the Jordan Addison thing, he's entering a contract year. Do they want to pay Jetta and him? You can find a number 2 receiver. I think it would make a lot of sense for both teams. Titans get a lot of draft picks. They get at least a high-end number 2, potentially a number 1 receiver to pair with Cam Ward. That feels like a win-win all the way around. Will J.J. McCarthy be the Vikings quarterback in 2026? Type Y for yes, or you can type N for no. All right, I thought about trading down for the Giants here, but I'm just going to go BPA, Caleb Downs. He's been labeled as the safest player in this draft, and I think sometimes people hear safe and they almost have a negative connotation. It's like, no, this guy's a high-end player, not necessarily at a premium position, but you look at the Kyle Hamiltons of the world. If you have one of the best safeties that can do a lot of different things, that can really make a big difference. The kid they took out of Minnesota a couple years ago at safety has not really panned out. Who's that? Yeah, Tyler Nubin. And then Javon Holland, who they signed this year, has been in and out of the lineup. I think you put Caleb Downs in there. You got a 10-year pro who can play at a very, very high level. All right, Saints on the clock at 3. I'm going to trade back. Raiders move up because they could be in position to go get a quarterback. They swap 3 and 5, and then the Saints get a second-round pick from Vegas next year to make this swap. And Las Vegas takes Dante Moore. Now, there's been a lot of chatter that Dante Moore is probably coming back next year. I will say this, though. He's really heated up the last couple of weeks. If he were to go on a deep playoff run and play really, really well and get top 3, top 5 pick buzz, maybe he just goes in a weaker QB class, right? Strike while the iron's hot. I've been really impressed this year. I love his demeanor, his composure. He's obviously got great skill set, right? 6'4", 225, 230, can move around. But what I like about him is when he moves, he keeps his eyes downfield, wants to throw. He could scramble if you need him to, but he's not really looking to do that. He throws with accuracy, with touch. He can throw the fastball as well. So I've been impressed with what he's been able to do at Oregon this year. And the Raiders are just, they're desperate, man. Like, I could see them trying to make a splash like this. Okay, Arvell Reese goes to the Jets. They could be in position for a QB, but with Moore and Mendoza already gone, I don't love Ty Simpson as a top 5 guy. BPA, they obviously traded off some defensive pieces. You get Arvell Reese, who's a linebacker edge hybrid. He can do a lot of different things. You can blitz him. He can play off ball. He can play in coverage. Really fun player out of Ohio State. Okay, Rueben Bain to the Saints, so they trade down, pick up a second next year, still get Rueben Bain, a good player at a premium position, so I like that. Browns at 6, they're going to be an interesting team to watch. If Shedeur Sanders at least shows some life the rest of the season, is there a world where they would use their 2 first-round picks just on good players and give Shedeur next year to start? I think that's a possibility. I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to be the guy next year. I'm not saying Shedeur will, but I think there's at least some chance of that. So for now, I'll go receiver. Carnell, Tate. I think there's 3 receivers, him, Makai, Lemon. Who's the other one? Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. Thank you very much, producer Cullen. It's going to be a pick your flavor. Local guy, Ohio State. I like him as a boundary guy for Cleveland. I think that could make some sense. Okay, Washington, David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech, one of my favorite players in this draft. Super explosive as an edge rusher. Tick undersized, but good pass rush arsenal, really good speed, can jump the snap pretty well also, holds his own in the run despite being a little undersized, and that Dan Quinn defense this year, they just need guys. And I think this guy is a dude, so I would take him if I was Washington. All right, trade alert again here. Bengals on the clock at 8. So the Titans, after trading down, they trade back up. They get the 8th pick and a 4th-round pick, 108. Cincinnati gets 12 and 76. So they move up around from the 4th to the 3rd and only drop 4 spots in the 1st round. And I'm going to go Jeremiah Love. You could go offensive tackle here, Spencer Fano, or you could go, a Caden Proctor or someone like that, the kid out of Miami, Maui Goa. But I'm going to go with Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back. Then all of a sudden, this is a pretty fun trio, right? Cam Ward slinging it, Jeremiah Love running it, Jordan Addison at receiver. Now, they do need some offensive line help, but I think Jeremiah Love is a much better prospect than some of the offensive tackles in this class, even if it's not a premium position. They would obviously have to address the O-line elsewhere, free agency trade, whatever. But that's a trio I could get behind, and I think the Titans fan base could get behind as well, especially if they can get a fun offensive head coach or coordinator to get that group going. Okay, Cardinals at number 9, Makai, Lemon. I think it's a good fit. Marvin Harrison, big, physical receiver. Lemon, kind of that smaller guy who can run the full route tree, do some different things. I think that's a good mesh with Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously, Arizona could be a team to watch at quarterback, but I'm going to go receiver here. Keldric Faulk to the Dolphins. They just traded, obviously, blanking on the name, Jalen Phillips to Philadelphia, so they're thin at edge. Bradley Chubb's a contract they could pivot off of in the near future, so Keldric Faulk's a guy they could come in or bring in to help fill that void. And then how about this? Rams sitting at 11. Remember, they got the Falcons' first-round pick, Ty Simpson. I'm not as high on Ty Simpson as others, but I really like this situation because you get him with an elite offensive coach. The way Matt Stafford's playing, he's playing at least one more year, you would think, for the Rams. So he could sit back and learn. Ty Simpson's had a really good year. I don't think he has a single elite trait, but he's kind of pretty good in all areas. He's pretty accurate. He's pretty aggressive. I do like how he's willing to push the ball down the field. I mean, they had a 4th down conversion, I think against Missouri earlier in the year. It's like 4th and 4, and he threads the needle on like a deep sail route between a couple of defenders. So he's made some big-time throws. Again, I don't know if there's a star trait anywhere, but he's kind of solid in all areas, and I think you get him with a guy like Sean McVay, sit behind Matt Stafford for a year or two. The Rams have 2 first-round picks, so if there's a QB they like that could be a Stafford successor, I think they could take a swing here. Okay, Jermod McCoy, the cornerback out of Tennessee, who has not played this year, so it'll be interesting to see how teams evaluate him. Obviously, the medical check will be interesting. He tore his ACL and winter workouts. I think in January there was a chance he was going to come back, but I don't think he is at this point. He's just going to gear up for the draft. But if he played and had a good year this year, lock top 10 pick. Best corner heading into this season. I still think he goes pretty damn high, and I think he would be an instant upgrade in that secondary based on some of the pieces that they have right now. So I have McCoy going right there. Okay, Prize Picks. Today's show sponsor is Prize Picks. The holiday season is here. It's the best time of year for sports. Bowl games around the corner, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. That is Prize Picks. New feature alert on Prize Picks. It now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. What is a lineup, Harrison? Well, you pick 2 or more players, regardless of sport, and pick more or less on their stat projection. We're talking passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards, points, rebounds, assists in basketball, goals and assists in soccer and hockey, fantasy score. It's all available. Here's an example of a 3-player lineup. I took more on Caleb Williams' half a touchdown pass this Friday. Took more on Rome Odunze's receiving yards, 46.5, and then I took less on Saquon Barkley's rushing yards as well. Little 3-player lineup for you guys. You put more players in your lineups, the payouts can be larger. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. Okay, Cowboys picking 13th overall. Cashius Howell, he's been rising up draft boards. He's kind of like David Bailey, a little undersized, but a dynamic pass rusher. I think he's got like 13 sacks this year. Really, really fun player. Probably depends on scheme, but the Cowboys, who are now loaded at defensive tackle, they got 3 really good ones. They need an edge rusher. I think Howell would be a fun player. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon, one of my favorite players in this draft. I don't know what Carolina does. Do they trot out Bryce Young for another year? Probably depends how he plays the rest of the season. Do they look to draft a quarterback? I just kind of went with BPA here. I think Sadiq gives them another dynamic weapon. Him and Tetero McMillan is kind of your top 2 pass catchers moving forward. I think that's a pretty good duo. Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson, still on the board. Chris Jones ain't playing forever. And outside of him, they have not had great defensive tackle play this year in Kansas City, so they get Woods out of Clemson. The Steelers go receiver, Jordan Tyson. Obviously, they could be in the mix for quarterback. Would they take a Lenore Sellers here if he were to come out? Is there another quarterback that emerges? We'll see. But they do need a second receiver opposite of DK Metcalf, and I think Tyson is the best one available by far. Could be the best receiver in this draft. Spencer Fano, no offensive tackles till now. This would be a dream scenario for Houston. You would have him and Ariante Ursary as your bookend tackles. That's something to grow with on that offensive line, who's had issues the last couple of years. Lions take TJ Parker, the edge out of Clemson. He was viewed as a top 5 pick coming into the year. Hasn't played as well this year as he did last year, but he's got really good physical tools. I think he's got a chance to be a really good pro. Ravens go Francis Mauigoa, a more versatile offensive lineman, could play tackle, could play guard. Roger Rosengarten's just been okay at right tackle for Baltimore, so they could play him there. If they want to plug him in at guard, they could do that, so they would have some different options. Mansour Delane has had a really good year at corner out of LSU. The Bucs, really defense in general, like the guys that are still there when they had a really good defense feel old. Some of the younger players they've brought in aren't playing that well. They got to get better on that side of the football, especially at corner, and Delane, I think, would be an excellent pick here at 20. We bring you guys daily NFL, college football content. Mock drafts is where both sports kind of meet up. So if you want more mock drafts, hit that subscribe button. If you just want daily football content for free, we got you guys covered. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Sonny Styles is next up here, the off-ball linebacker for Ohio State. He's a heat missile, man. He can really get downhill. He's good in coverage as well. Buffalo just needs defensive talent. They really just need talent, period. I mean, outside of Josh Allen and James Cook, do they have a single elite player on that team? I mean, a healthy Ed Oliver probably is, but he's hurt this year. That roster is in worse shape than people think. The Browns at 22, Caden Proctor. He's going to be a polarizing prospect because he is massive, he is athletic, but it feels like he's still a little bit raw in terms of his technique. But he's one of those guys that, like, 10 years from now, it's like, oh my God, he's been a 4-time All-Pro, or maybe he's not even in the league, right? Like, it could go one way or the other, but if he hits, his physical tools are incredible. Carnell, Tate, Caden Proctor, 2 potential cornerstone offensive pieces for the Browns in this mock. I definitely am a fan of that. And remember, Cleveland has Jacksonville's first-round pick there. Okay, the 49ers at 23, Oli Vavega Ione. At some point, they got to invest more on that offensive line. I mean, when your best player by far up front is 37-year-old Trent Williams, like, what if he just decides to retire next year? Like, I mean, you're going to be in really rough shape. So you got to start spending real assets up front if you're Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. The Cowboys at 24, remember, they have a couple first-round picks here. Avion Terrell, the corner out of Clemson. You put him opposite of Deron Bland. I think that'd be pretty solid. Chargers at 25, this is a draft riser. Caden McDonald. Dane Brugler's got him in his top 30 right now. Physical defensive tackle for Ohio State. You know, Harbaugh loves trenches guys, and their D-tacks aren't great, so I think that's a position they could attack. All right, let's have some fun. The Chicago Bears on the clock at 26. I think it's time for the Raiders to trade Maxx Crosby. I don't know if the Bears would be the team that would trade him, although I think they would be interested. I think a lot of teams, 10, 12 teams, would make calls. But the Raiders just, it's time. Like, you're so far away. Get some assets. 2 first-round picks and a 4th. 26th pick, which is where the Bears sit right now. First-round pick in 2027. 4th-round pick in 2026. Pretty good offer there for a guy who's nearing 30 years old. Bears get an elite pass rusher. Raiders get some draft assets. Should the Raiders trade Maxx Crosby? Type 1 for yes or type 2 for no? I think it's time. I don't know if he'll flat-out request a trade, but I don't know. He seems miserable, man. They're just not close. So they could be changing coaches again. So, I think it's time this offseason. And then they select Christian Miller, a defensive tackle out of Georgia. Obviously, you'd want to replenish on that defensive line. I think this kid's got a chance to be really, really good. Seahawks, Brandon Cease, the corner out of South Carolina. More of a zone than a man corner. That's what Seattle runs. There's been chatter that Reek Woolen is a guy they could let walk in free agency because he's more of a man coverage corner. So, they could play the comp pick formula game potentially there, then draft his replacement in the draft. Okay, Denzel Boston, a guy I'm still really high on. He's big, fast, can run routes out of Washington. Jets need someone opposite of Garrett Wilson, so you get Arvell, Reese, and Denzel Boston. It's a pretty good draft, if you ask me. Remember, that pick's via Indianapolis from Sauce Gardner, the Sauce Gardner trade. Okay, Eagles, Casey Concepcion, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M, 5'11", speed demon, really good returner as well, which obviously the value in the return game has returned with kickoffs being back in the game. So he could play on offense. He could play on special teams. He could be an impactful player right away. Amari Washington, the defensive tackle out of Oregon. Denver, they don't have any weaknesses. So they can kind of just, hey, let's go BPA here. I think Bo Nix is going to be the guy at least next year. He's been up and down this year. I don't think they're replacing him. I think Amari Washington with Vance Joseph would be a lot of fun. Rams get Colton Hood with their 2nd first-round pick, the corner out of Tennessee, who's had to be their top guy this year with Jermod McCoy banged up, and he's answered the bell. He's played really well. The Rams are getting better play out of their corners, but I still think that's a position they could look to add higher-level talent moving forward. All right, the reason I took a receiver for the Eagles at 29 is I think it's pretty clear. A.J. Brown is getting traded this offseason. He's miserable there. Everyone knows it. He's telling you basically that he wants out. He's going to suck it up and finish this season out, but they will trade him. The Patriots were the team he was a fan of growing up. They need another weapon. It just makes sense. So New England gets A.J. Brown and a 3rd, the 68th pick, and the Eagles get number 32 overall. I think A.J. Brown in a vacuum is probably worth like a 2nd-round pick, maybe at a day 3 pick. So to move up from the 3rd to the end of the 1st round, I think that's about right. for what you would get for A.J. Brown if you're Philadelphia. And then they select Mateo Uiagalelei, get an edge rusher that is DJU's younger brother, to help bolster that edge group. Because it's also unclear, will they keep Jalen Phillips? Could he walk in free agency? So Howie Roseman's drafting edge rushers all the time, so they get another one in there. All right, grade your team's draft pick in this mock. A, B, C, D, or F. How did I do for your favorite team? Go ahead and let me know. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning into this episode of For Verts. We'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the holidays. See you next time.